McCarthy. Chelsea have had a penalty shout with Hoyt on Giroud. It's a little bit inconclusive. Southampton have had chances too. Bertrand's crossed to Ings, but he blazed over the bar. 1-0 at the break. Half-time at St Mary's, where it's Southampton 0, Chelsea 1. Chelsea took the lead midway through the first half. Wesley Hoyt won a challenge in the box, and then he came out of defence. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg then turned into trouble. Ross Barkley picked. Well, we're back for the second half of this independent off-tube studio commentary from the Premier League, where at St Mary's it's Southampton 0, Chelsea 1. Eden Hazard with yet another goal to his tally this season in the first half after a couple of defensive errors from Wesley Hoyt and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Jorginho and Kante in the middle, with Willian and Hazard supporting Giroud up front. Chelsea looking to come forward and try and continue the domination they had towards the end of that first half. Ball is just given away, and that's a challenge on the fresh legs of Romeu from Jorginho. It's myself, Dan McCarthy, and Matt Guy taking you through the rest of the action. And Matt, that change from Southampton probably designed just to give them a little bit more control and a little bit more presence in midfield.
Yeah, we saw after Chelsea scored that they had over 90% of the possession. You feel as if Southampton have got to try and get a bit more of that possession, because when they did in that spell in the first half, they were pretty good going forward, and they did have chances. That obviously that sitter from 4 or 5 yards from Danny Ings, and yeah, Romeu is good on the ball, should hopefully push Southampton up. Yeah, and he does have that height in there as well, so he can be a useful asset from set pieces at both ends. He did, of course, have a very forgettable spell at Chelsea. That was his first taste of football in England, but very rarely got any game time. He had a few loan spells out, and now he's found a home for himself at Southampton as Luiz picks up the ball at the back, and now Kepa very casually plays it forward, looking for Jorginho, who's sprinting forward now. He has Kante and Barkley in front of him. Barkley then lays it back off to the Italian. Now here's Hazard, the main danger man, of course, takes it inside. Cedric Soares shows really good strength to outmuscle the Portuguese man. Out now to Azpilicueta, lays one down the line for Kante, who's continued his run, being chased by Wesley Hoyt. Now with Willian. Willian finds one inside for Hazard. Hazard still, now out wide. Azpilicueta. Hazard, he's got Kante there for company, but he'll turn round and pick out Jorginho instead. Jorginho back now with Luiz. Here comes Barkley. Jorginho again. Loves a pass, does the Italian, and plays a good one to Alonso. Now Willian looking to cut inside. Willian shoots from distance. Comfortable save from Alex McCarthy, but more of the same it seems from Chelsea. Yeah, good from Willian, cutting inside, getting a bit of space, but the only place he could have hit that ball with the shape of the defenders was that bottom right or the top right hand corner, and he played it towards the bottom right. McCarthy had seen that one coming and easily hung on to the ball. Just saw a stat just pop up just a moment ago of the last 41 Premier League games that Chelsea have been ahead at half time. 36 of them and not lost. Yeah, it's a troublesome record from a Southampton point of view, but they'll try hard to come forward and just try and get a bit more of a foothold and some more impetus in the game. The likes of Ings and Gabbiadini haven't had too much to work with. Redmond has also been quiet, and Højbjerg and Lamina have been dominated in the middle, so Romeu will try and add a bit more solidity to them. Southampton get the ball back. They've won a free kick inside Chelsea's half, and well, it's Nathan Redmond that's been brought down on that far side. He's back up on his feet now. Bertrand picks it up, and they look like they're not going to go particularly long with it. Bertrand just feints to take the free kick. See what Southampton can provide from the set piece. It's short to Romeu and then goes backwards now into Yoshida. Now Højbjerg out with Suarez. He has to be careful not to let that one drift out of play. It didn't, but he
tossed it forward, and Luis headed it on to Barkley as Alonso now picks out Willian. Willian gives the ball away. Alonso tries to nip in. It's Danny Ings who gets it. Really good footwork from Ings. He's still going. He went into a bit of a dead end though, so he has to pick out Gabbiadini. Gabbiadini goes back across for Romeu. Romeu backwards to Højbjerg. Some of the momentum has gone, but Højbjerg can get across into the far post, and it's volleyed just over the bar from the on-rushing left back Ryan Bertrand, who could have got a goal himself against his former club. Decent pick out from Højbjerg. Bertrand unmarked, and he should be doing better.
Yeah, it was good work from Danny Ings in the middle. He was looking for that yard to get a shot away. He couldn't quite. Played back from Gabbiadini, and then Romeu into Højbjerg, and a great ball over the top. I think it was Hazard at the back post, just sleeping, watching the left back just steaming forward and got right in space, and he's got to try and keep that shot down. That's another great opportunity that Southampton have missed. Yeah,
you could maybe say that it's good defending from Rudiger, who just did enough to put him off, and he went for the side foot volley rather than going with his laces as Lamina lifts one into the box, headed away once again. Lamina tries a second attempt, but this time finds Bertrand, and now Redmond back to Bertrand. Romeu's running forward, but Bertrand doesn't spot him. Over with Redmond right on the touchline, getting chalk on his boots. Nice ball forward to Romeu. He's forced backwards by the resilient Chelsea defence, and they're looking to try and press Southampton and win the ball back as much as possible. Suarez into Gabbiadini, who's got a couple of players around him. Gabbiadini spins away, but he can't get past Barkley, and then Gabbiadini was a little bit late with the challenge on Barkley, and it's given as a foul. And well, again, Southampton chances at a premium for them. Bertrand should have done much better, and I wonder how long it will be before we see Charlie Austin maybe come onto the pitch. I know he's not going to provide too much outside the box, but he is a deadly finisher when the balls are right for him in the box.
He is, yeah. He's not scored in his last 12 appearances, which is his longest drought, but he's one of those that you always fancy when he's in a scoring opportunity. He's just a natural finisher of the ball and will drill the ball home. Maybe that is what Southampton need, that little bit of quality, of course. They've just really been lacking, because Chelsea, as long as they've been comfortable and they're 1-0 up, but it could easily have been 2-1 down if Bertrand had maybe done better there and Ings had scored that opportunity earlier.
Well, Ings is coming forward now, picks out Redmond on the left. Redmond one-on-one with Azpilicueta into Ings. Snapshot first time. Really good effort from the on-loan Liverpool man as Redmond fed the ball into the box. He had to adjust himself really quickly, Danny Ings. Just see Redmond get the better of Azpilicueta. One touch with the right boot, it kind of spun up, and then he volleyed it first time. Decent effort from Ings.
It was a decent effort. The problem was it just went straight down the middle, and either a yard or two either way would have put Kepa under some pressure. And there was a fair bit of space on Kepa's right bottom left as Ings is looking at it, but as you say, it's snapshot. You just got to try and get something on it and try and get it on target at first thought. It's exactly what it did, but it was just too easy for the goalkeeper.
Well, Southampton have had double the shots on target of Chelsea this afternoon, 4 against 2, but I think 3 of those in the first half were from strikes from distance, and even though they've got 4 on target, none of them have really worked to Rita Balaga. They've all been straight at him.
Yeah, it's been Gabbiadini taking shots from about 35 yards from absolutely miles out. But to be fair, he's got them on target, but you're never going to score from there, and that's a really poor challenge to give from Lamina.
Yeah, good play from Barkley, getting his body in the way of the ball and Lamina, and Lamina's going to pick up a yellow card for that one. Again, it's just a really cheap booking to give away. Barkley wasn't really going anywhere. He was far on the touchline. There weren't any of his teammates around. There was Romeu coming on the cover, and it's just ill-discipline from Lamina.
It is, yeah. He's just caught the heels. It's one of those as well, when the player beats you and goes past you, you're really annoyed at yourself for letting them get past you. But it's got to be given as a yellow card because they're on the counter-attack, and it's just a stupid foul to give, especially when there's not that many men going forward in support of Barkley.
Here is Hoyt forward now to Romeu. Romeu gets it through to Højbjerg. Here is Bertrand. Redmond forced backwards, and now Hoyt can pick it up. And speaking of Hoyt, well, we kind of looked at the replay again. I'll break off because Yoshida's touch is poor, and now Chelsea springing forward, and Willian with one of the worst decisions he's made all afternoon, as he had men on his inside. He looked for the run on the outside of Barkley, and the ball was lost, and that's a great chance for Chelsea. Yoshida completely unexpectedly allowing that one to go underneath his foot. He had men over on the far side. Hazard was completely free but went for Barkley and didn't find anyone.
Yeah, it was 4-on-2 for Chelsea. Barkley made the run short, and then Giroud made a brilliant run through the middle that forced the defender to cover him, which left Hazard in so much space on the right hand side. The Willian, the Brazilian, didn't give the ball and didn't play it to the right hand side in time.
It's been a decent start to this second half for Southampton. Mark Hughes responded to that first half display by making a change at half time and a change of formation. Jan Bednarak went off and Oriol Romeu was come on in the middle to give them a bit more presence in the middle of the park. So it is a straight 4-5-1 formation now, and they've had a couple of good chances. Højbjerg with a cross on the near side to the back post where Ryan Bertrand went for a side foot volley. He should have gone with it with his laces, and then just a minute later the ball from Nathan Redmond on the left was fizzed into Danny Ings in the box, who took one touch and then volleyed it towards Arisa Balaga. Chelsea have had a couple of opportunities themselves. Willian with a shot from distance and then a poor ball forward which didn't pick out anyone. Still Southampton 0, Chelsea 1.
Southampton more than happy to throw a few men forward there. They had a couple of opportunities to go forward. Now they're caught on the break. Great ball from Willian into Hazard this time, and then Hazard feints one way, flicks it the other way past Danny Ings, and surely I would presume that Danny Ings is going to go in the book here because it was stopping a counter-attack. I'm not so sure he has, but it was just one of those. Danny Ings, of course, not a defender by trade, just tracking Hazard all the way, but Hazard's so good with his feet, he was able to flick it past the Southampton striker and easily get past him, and it will be a free kick inside the Southampton half for Chelsea.
Yeah, and it's always a bit of a worry when players are having to track back from centre forward that far, as Hazard walks away from that challenger a little bit gingerly and doesn't look too comfortable after he went down under the challenge, so we'll have to keep an eye out on that one. Willian and Barkley stood over this free kick now. It's around 30 yards out in the central area. It looks like Willian's going to put this one into the box rather than go for the strike from distance. Brazilian goes to the back post and it's then flicked on by Giroud. What an overhead kick! Squares it to Ross Barkley, who applies the tap in. Absolutely brilliant set piece routine. Willian fizzed it into the box. Giroud, how about that for an assist? And Barkley finishes.
Chip to the back post. You can see Giroud in loads of space. He winds his overhead kick up. It's sort of jiu-jitsu like, gets his foot way in the air above his head, and then yeah, he's running in behind. Brilliantly timed run. Fires it across goal. Tap in for Barkley.
Chelsea have doubled their advantage, and what a set piece routine it was. A free kick in a central area about 30 yards out. Willian drove it to the back post. Olivier Giroud got there and wound up a wonderful overhead kick, which was a great assist into the box. Ross Barkley got there from 6 yards out and he couldn't miss. Southampton 0, Chelsea 2.
It's a brilliant routine that. Looking back on it, Giroud goes one way, runs behind the wall. Meanwhile, just moments earlier, Rudiger had switched sides to go on the left-hand side with Barkley. They were matched up against Lamina and Suarez. You got to say that was a height battle that Chelsea would have certainly won if the ball had gone that way. But the ball across from Giroud was brilliant. Rudiger and Barkley were staving in to apply a finishing touch, and it was the Englishman who did get that one. 2-0 for Chelsea, and you feel this is a long way back for Southampton now. Over half an hour to go, but Chelsea, you have to feel, will just play it around, and with that fantastic game management they should win the game from here.
Yeah, you'd imagine that that's probably going to seal this result now. Southampton, they've tried their best, they've battled hard, they've not been completely outclassed in every department and not been out of this game, but it's just those moments of quality, and Giroud, when he was free at the back post, I was just expecting a header across, but the way that he managed to adjust himself and get that acrobatic effort away was absolutely masterful. And Ross Barkley will be thanking his French striker tonight, because he's just provided one of the easiest goals he'll score in his career.
It's one of those, he could have headed it, but it would have been a looping one into the box, or he drilled it like he did with his overhead kick, but it just caused so many problems for the defence, and it was just so easy for Barkley to get on the end of it. Incidentally, the yellow card now for Cedric Suarez, as he is judged to have been tugging Hazard back and pulling his shirt on a counter-attack, so it's a yellow card for him. See pictures of Cesc Fabregas on the bench. You don't see too much of him these days, the likes of Kovacic and Barkley being picked over, but the Englishman has certainly proved himself worthy today.
Yeah, he certainly has, and that's why Gareth Southgate's called him back up. A player who in the summer was in a state of flux, really. He didn't know whether he had a long-term future at Chelsea after only moving to the club in January, but he's worked his way back under Maurizio Sarri, and dare you say that Sarri's the kind of manager who plays the football Barkley wants to play. He didn't really suit the Conte style.
Yeah, no, it's on that left-hand side of a midfield three as well, so he can burst forward. He's been very good today in winning the ball back and cutting out passes like you wouldn't have said he was when he was in his younger days at Everton, but he still can go forward and cause so many problems for defences right across the league.
Yeah, he's got all the talent in the world as Ross Barkley, and he just needs to apply it a little bit more. And well, there's a massive game coming up after this one in the Premier League, arguably the biggest of the season so far between the two sides, favourites to win the Premier League. Liverpool against Manchester City, available on this service for independent off-tube studio commentary. In our featured game at the moment, Southampton 0, Chelsea 2. Hoyt lays one off now for Bertrand. It's cut away by Azpilicueta on that far side. Southampton with a throw-in. Mark Hughes is jumping up around his technical area, trying to give some encouragement to his players as the Saints are now forced back all the way to Alex McCarthy, headed on there by Cedric Suarez. Ball is just bouncing around half now, and Chelsea can come forward with Eden Hazard. He's then bundled to the ground by Oriol Romeu. I'm not sure that's the role his manager will have wanted him to play when he come off the bench.
No, it's one of those. Hazard is so quick on the ball. It's so easy to foul him, and he's just skipped past two of them there, and Romeu's coming for the tackle, which you have to do, but he's so quick on the ball that you just can't help but foul him, and that's why he's the most fouled player in the Premier League. And
that's why Romeu's picked up a yellow card as well, so they're starting to rack up for Southampton. 3 bookings to 0, 2 goals to 0 to Chelsea, and they could make it 3 if this set piece is anywhere near as good as the previous one. Willian again, this time further out on the near side. Willian will try and drive it low into the near post, but it's cleared by Southampton, and Chelsea just go back to Arisa Balaga, give him a touch of the ball, and he's just trying to invite Southampton pressure really before playing it around their attackers. Here is Azpilicueta now, back with Arisa Balaga, across to Antonio Rudiger. Got Jorginho ahead of him, but Rudiger goes long instead. It'll go out for a throw-in. So now they can play it back to Alex McCarthy, who's done nothing wrong really. He's made a couple of good saves today. Nothing he could have done about either of the goals that Chelsea scored this afternoon. Hazard and Barkley, the difference between the two sides as it stands. Here comes David Luiz, forward now into Jorginho. Luiz, Ings goes and charges down, but Chelsea are able to just play it round them, and that's the difficult thing really when you're a team that's going to be on the back foot like Southampton. Do you just hold off and invite them on, or do you go
it's a really difficult one. The top teams in the league so far this season, Liverpool, City, and obviously Chelsea today, that they're so good at bringing the ball forward but also quickly catching you if you go forward and press onto them. It's such a difficult sort of mind game / tactic to play. You don't quite know which one to go for, and they've been half-hearted really today, Southampton. They've sat back a lot with the Chelsea possession, but then when they've come forward they've been good. But that's when Chelsea have broken forward and Hazard has been fouled so many times, and that's why Southampton have got 4 bookings.
Exactly so, and that's why they've struggled to get any sort of rhythm going up front as Yoshida collects it on the edge of the Southampton box. Goes backwards now, picks out McCarthy. Will look to chip one forwards, and then that's headed on by Azpilicueta, and just lack a little bit of height up there to Southampton as well, so they can't really venture forward with the long ball. Hoyt all the way back to McCarthy once again, another long clearance, trying to go a little bit more direct now Southampton. Romeu now feeds it to Bertrand on the far side. Bertrand goes in for Højbjerg, who scored that wonderful goal at St Mary's a few weeks ago against Brighton. That shot from 35 yards out, which curled back in towards the far post. He's not got anywhere near doing anything like that this afternoon so far.
It's going to have to be something like that to bring Southampton into this game, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly will. Something out of the ordinary, which will either come from a Southampton great bit of play for them, or just a Chelsea mistake, it seems.
Yeah, it's so difficult for Southampton coming forward. As I say, that bit of quality has been lacking all game. That Ings chance would have been so vital for them. Going 1-0 up, that would have been huge. It would have been a totally different game, really. As Chelsea win the ball back in midfield, and a really poor challenge on Hazard once again. Yeah,
and then Kante goes across to Barkley. Højbjerg, the man penalised. So this is nearly half the team that Southampton have seen going to the book. Romeu, Cedric, Lemina, Bertrand, and now Højbjerg have all picked up yellow cards, and with well over 25 minutes of the game to go, I don't think you put it past Southampton to have a man sent off. Just these cheap fouls they keep giving away on the Chelsea forward players.
It's all three central midfielders and the two wing backs. Dangerous areas for the likes of Hazard and Willian to jolt one way and run and easily win a foul. It's calling out for a red card. It wouldn't be surprising at all if we saw one.
And now if they're not going to commit with challenges, it'll just give them more room to kind of run into, and they'll be able to try and create and score goals. Southampton come forward down the far side. Chelsea, no, they don't keep it in play. I thought they did. Will be a Southampton throw-in. Just trying to get forward now as Bertrand throws it back into the mix. Cross now into Yoshida. Yoshida forward, and it's laid off by Gabbiadini into Cedric. Here is Lemina. Lemina takes it round Barkley, and he's still going. Here is Gabbiadini, looks to chip one into the box for Danny Ings. He can't rise. Højbjerg will shoot. Great block from Antonio Rudiger. He'll be out for a Southampton corner.
Better football from Southampton once again, trying to work their way into the game. Gabbiadini with a great ball up, was headed out, but supporting men from midfield, that's what Southampton need. And Højbjerg this time, his shot was cracked at goal, but Rudiger was in the way, and finally Southampton will get a corner on the stats.
Yeah, that's it's been a long time coming, nearly 67 minutes into the game, as Bertrand will lift it in high, looking for Romeu. It goes over everyone's head, and then Højbjerg will collect it, and he shoots, and it goes a long way wide of the far post. Still Southampton 0, Chelsea 2, and it's very comfortable now, this game, for Maurizio Sarri's men. They're taking control of possession. They're frustrating Southampton to the point now where nearly half of their team have been booked. Romeu, Cedric, Højbjerg, Lemina and Bertrand all on yellow cards, all for pretty cheap fouls given away when Chelsea are coming forward. Mark Hughes doesn't look like he's got too much more up his sleeve in terms of changes that could be made. He's got Shane Long and Charlie Austin on the bench, but they've not been used yet. Chelsea are just making a change themselves. Olivier Giroud, who provided the spectacular assist for the second, is going off, and Morata will replace him. Still Southampton 0, Chelsea 2.
2/3 of the game gone. I'm surprised that Giroud has just been replaced. It's comfortable for Chelsea. 2-0 up. Give Morata another go. Missed a poor opportunity midweek, but then did get on the score sheet. So maybe another opportunity to get on the score sheet is what he needs to build his confidence up. He's been lacking of confidence quite a lot recently. So getting a goal will certainly boost that. It's exactly what strikers need to do. They need to get games and time to do that. They need to get opportunities, as Chelsea just comfortable in midfield. Jorginho play it back to the defenders, all the way back down to Kepa, and then cleared under pressure up towards Morata.
Yep, comfortable it is for Chelsea as Hoyt then hooks one over, and Chelsea can just collect it at the back. Well, we are 3.
Cheers, Dan. I'm not too sure. I'll change the way I'm going to say that. It could be one way or the other. We don't see much action so far till the end, because it's so comfortable for Chelsea, or it could be 4 or 5-0. It could be one of those.
Yeah, I think it depends really on the kind of changes that maybe either side make. Chelsea, if they decide to stick as they are or maybe go a little bit more defensive, they've still got some good players to bring on as Hazard takes it onto his right. He's opened the space up for himself, unleashes a shot blocked by Nathan Redmond.
Chelsea coming forward down the right with Azpilicueta now. Cuts the ball inside towards Willian, then onto Hazard, but a good tackle in the end by Romeu, who just tries to play the ball out. It's a bit touchy there for Redmond. He's a bit under pressure, but it's a great ball up to Gabbiadini, but then Lamina turns in midfield and gives it away cheaply. Ball now into Kante, considering they've got 3 men on the pitch in midfield now. Southampton is still very comfortable in the middle of the park for Chelsea. Alonso now plays it inside to Jorginho, looking for the run of Willian in behind. He does find Willian, but his touch, well, lack of a touch there. He didn't even get a touch on the ball, and it will just easily go out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's happened a couple of times now in this game to Willian, just maybe not quite at his sharpest. He is the only outfield player today that started in the game against Vidian midweek, so maybe just a little bit of tiredness creeping in, and if Chelsea do make a change, you'd probably see that Willian would come off and maybe Pedro on in his place. Just a bit more legs up there. Yeah,
that is a change that does usually happen, whether it be Pedro that started, Willian comes on, or Willian started and Pedro does usually come on. That is a typical one for Chelsea. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe one of the midfielders did come off for Kovacic or someone like that, just to rest the legs. There's no real need to exert themselves too much in the rest of this game, as Redmond almost breaks free past Rudiger on the left, but it's a good tackle from the Chelsea defender, and there will be a free kick now on the left hand side for Southampton as Højbjerg is taken out. Will be taken short by Bertrand to Hoyt, across to Yoshida to the right hand side with Cedric Suarez now down the line. Plays it towards Lamina. Great flick through the legs from Lamina, but Gabbiadini then picks the ball up and gives it away and goes down as if he's injured, but Chelsea will continue. Hazard down the left hand side. He's got 4 men in front of him in different positions. It's 5 on 5 here at the back. Hazard skips past Romeu, then tries to play the ball out to Alonso, but it's almost sold his teammate short as he manages to pick the ball up. Plays it into his fellow Spaniard Morata. Now back with Jorginho as Southampton settle back into a shape. Hazard looking to just tease Cedric one way and then the other. Actually just plays the ball short on this occasion. Alonso, Barkley, poor first touch, and then he's eventually taken down by Cedric. I'm sure the referee will be counting these fouls from these yellow carded men before they get another yellow card for persistent fouling.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering maybe if Mark Hughes, he's got a couple of changes left up his sleeve, whether he might just, rather than go for forward options, just think there's no point taking the risk. This game is probably beyond us now. Bring a couple of them off and save themselves getting a red card.
Yeah, that would be a wise option to do. You don't want to make force your players to miss another game by making another silly challenge or sometimes necessary challenge. And getting another yellow card as Luiz brings the ball out brilliantly from the back, takes 2 men out of the equation. Now Hazard through to Morata. The ball played just behind him. Morata does well to keep onto the ball under pressure from Cedric. Just to just get a toe on it and kick it out for a Chelsea throw-in. I have to say, looking at that bench, Mark Hughes might bring on a Shane Long, but with the midfielders the way they are, maybe Davis to come on. Fresh legs as well. Davis will give his all till the end of the game. Try and bring his team back into this, but there's not much movement on the sidelines. As Chelsea are under pressure, and Rudiger plays it back to Kepa with Luiz. Alonso down the line to Hazard. Great flick inside. He's attempted for Barkley, ends up with Alonso. Actually goes out of play, and it will be a Southampton throw-in. Barkley's been pretty solid today. I have to say, it's been one of his best performances I've seen him, especially probably one of his best, if not the best, in a Chelsea shirt.
I think definitely probably the next in line, but Barkley has been really solid, sometimes as a midfielder that can drift out of games, but he's done everything today that a complete midfielder does, as well as going forward and providing good passing. He's won the ball, he's been available, he's not given the ball away. We've just seen a stat come up on our screen, the highest pass completion rate of any Chelsea player this afternoon, over 93%. it's some going for them, as that change that we discussed for Chelsea is happening now. Willian off and Pedro on in his place.
Yep, it will be Pedro for the rest of the game. Standard change from Maurizio Sarri, and the managers previous to him, these two were often switched between them, whether that be in-game or game to game. Pedro instantly putting pressure on Romeu, plays the ball back to Yoshida, flicked round the corner by Lamina into Suarez, back to Lamina, but he's put under pressure and his pass is deflected out for a throw-in. It looks as if that's gone to Chelsea. It looked to me as if it should have been a Southampton throw-in, and Lamina's not looking too happy, and no surprise Shane Long is getting his boots ready on the sidelines.
Yeah, he'll just provide a bit more physicality up front, and you probably imagine that Southampton, to get back into this game, they'll have to go direct. They're not going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Chelsea in terms of passing it, because they give it away and then Chelsea have the ball for another 5 minutes. They'll have to use that, and Shane Long, as he has been for all of his career, he is a handful to play up against. He doesn't score enough goals, but he's quick, he's strong, and he's good in the air, and he'll provide a different threat now for Chelsea.
Willis Kepa was under pressure, plays the ball forward up to Barkley, but Chelsea hang on to the ball now with Hazard on the left hand side, flicked inside towards Barkley. Hazard continues his run and does receive the ball back from Barkley with a chipped ball over the back of Cedric Suarez, and now on the edge of the boxes Hazard lifts it towards the back post where Kante is coming in, but the ball was just too far ahead of him. He won't be able to pick it up in a dangerous area, but does hang on to it. Now gives it to Pedro, back with Jorginho, who misplaces a pass under pressure from Redmond. Right inside Kante to Pedro, back to Jorginho. Rudiger just sat back looking for a pass forward, and Pedro is calling for it but doesn't give it to him. Gives it to Kante, instead he flicks it round the corner for Pedro, then tries a fancy back heel to Hazard. It didn't look necessary to me, but Hazard still has the ball. Morata played back to Hazard. That was a poor ball really from him, but he does hang on to it, the Belgian. Hazard, left-footed ball. Barkley was on the edge of the box. I think that's who he was aiming for, but it was too far ahead of him. Long ball forward up towards Ing now for Southampton, wins it and flicks it onto Redmond down the left-hand side. He's got another man on the overlap, chooses to cut inside, gives it to Danny Ings once again. Now with Lamina on the right. He's got Alonso in front of him. Will he look to run past him? He's now got Kante for support as Alonso, so Lamina comes inside towards Romeu. First time ball out to the left. Now with Højbjerg. Lifts the ball in towards the box to Ings, but Rudiger will easily win that one, and Romeu picks up the second ball. Quick 1-2 with Redmond, and Southampton still on the ball, managing to hold on to it well in this moment. Yoshida and Hoyt just playing 1-2 with Romeu. Ball now forward up towards Højbjerg, and now Redmond has to give it back to him. Cuts inside looking for a pass forward, has to spread the ball well to the right hand side with Cedric, but his touch is really poor and has to scamper on and tries to put a first time cross in on Alonso, and it will win a corner.
Yeah, I think that's the best he could have hoped for from that situation, and the change is going to be made before that. Gabbiadini coming off, no real surprises there. He struggled to assert himself in the game today, and Shane Long could provide decent foil for Danny Ings as well, so there's probably thinking of that behind this change as well.
Yeah, I mean Gabbiadini did pretty well when he used to play in Italy, but it's a different league over here, and when you're playing against the likes of Chelsea, you're never going to receive much of the ball, and the only things we've really seen him do is hit shots 30 yards.
Yeah, he struggled to get involved. It's probably not the right game to play him in. You need him when you're going to be more on the front foot as Redmond drives the corner in.
To the penalty spot, and Luiz heads the ball away with great authority, beating Romeu to it. Cedric picks up the pieces, now gives it to Bertrand. He's got a man on the left hand side to give it to, and he does play the ball down the left to Højbjerg. Back now with Bertrand, who lifts it back towards Højbjerg down the left hand side, but the ball was too far inside. Rudiger, for the first time, clearance, having a laugh and a joke with, I think, his centre back partner Luiz there. Luiz may be saying you could have held on to that one instead of kicking away for a Southampton throw in. Nevertheless, Southampton now on the ball. Hoyt hoists the ball forward towards Long. Headed away by Chelsea into Redmond. Shot 30
Oh!
yards, and it's a tip, I think, from Kepa Arrizabalaga, who just gets a fingertip on the ball. It hits crossbar and goes behind.
Yeah, brilliant effort from Nathan Redmond, and that really caught me by surprise. Just a snapshot from distance. It was dipping, and I think Arrizabalaga did get a finger to that. We'll have another look. That is a brilliant save. That was going in via the crossbar, I think. Southampton take the corner quickly.
Lifted back into the box, headed away by Kante, picked up by Hazard. Chris plays it back towards Jorginho, plays a brilliant first time ball up towards the Belgian once again. He's got Pedro and Morata in support. He chooses Morata, great choice. Inside is Morata, through on goal, plays it, tries to go underneath the goalkeeper, and McCarthy has saved it.
Great chances for either side in the closing stages in the last few minutes. Well, it had been a quiet spell in the game with a few changes being made. Pedro coming on for Willian and Shane Long replacing Gabbiadini. But a couple of minutes ago, Nathan Redmond had a crack from around 25 yards out after the ball was headed back to him from Rudiger. A brilliant tip onto the crossbar from Arrizabalaga, then straight down the other end. Hazard running on the left. He fed a ball through to the sub Morata, who tried to squirm the ball under Alex McCarthy, but the goalkeeper saved it. Still Southampton 0, Chelsea 2.
There's a Southampton man down here, looks in a bit of pain. I think it's Wesley Hoyt. He's looking at the left calf of the man, and it will be a change now for Chelsea. Mateo Kovacic will be coming on for Ross Barkley, who for me is definitely up there for the man of the match award, but you never know. Coming off after 81 minutes, you're not too sure. He's got a goal and he's got an assist, so he's definitely in contention, but Kovacic will come on to see out the rest of this game. We'll see how Kovacic will play for the rest. He's been the one, the first choice over Barkley so far this season, but he's done very well in this game. Barkley, for me, he's cemented his place for the next game at least. Nevertheless, Morata, on the other hand, just going through one-on-one with the goalkeeper, wasn't able to take the chance, and that certainly won't put him in the pecking order ahead of Giroud. We look back at that Redmond shot, and what a brilliant save that was from Arrizabalaga. Diving backwards and to his left, just gets a fingertip to it, flicks it onto the bar, falls into his own net, but what a brilliant save that was. Yeah, it's a wonderful stop from the Spaniard as he came back, and he's kind of just a puff of the cheeks when he saved it. He's not had too much to do today, and again, that's just the hallmark of a decent goalkeeper. He has to be decent if Chelsea paid 71 million quid for him, but that really was a brilliant save, and it's the first time he's really been put under pressure from a Southampton effort. They've all been strikes from distance that have been very comfortable for him. They've not had any efforts where they've worked it into the box and it's from close range. It's a great save. Southampton win the ball back, but the ball to Ings is poor from Redmond, and he puts Rudiger under pressure. Will the foul be given? No, it won't. Eventually it will be hooked away by Rudiger for a throw-in. Southampton with a good bit of possession here. Now with Bertrand, who will take the throw-in on the left, and Redmond and Ings both come short. He does throw it to Ings, does Bertrand. Ings just hanging on to the ball. Good 1-2 with Redmond, but it'll just sneak out of play for a goal kick. Good football though, at least they're still trying in these dying embers of the game. Yeah, they are, and that's what they have to do. It's all they can do for the rest of the game. There's no point in giving it up, but maybe there will be a feeling of resignation among some of the players. Just one of those afternoons where Chelsea's class has shown in the end. Great work from Hazard to get the first goal, and then it was all about Giroud's assist for the next one. See, as Ings will have a strike from distance, and well, he really is getting involved in the game now. Ings, from around 25 yards out, tried to curl it to the top corner. A wry smile from him, and the goalkeeper got across again. Once again, Southampton putting Chelsea under pressure. Good strike from Ings. It wasn't right in the corner, but it's still a good save from Kepa, diving to his left hand side once again. Gets a strong palm on the ball. He's overarm right as he's diving onto it to reach further. He palms it away for a corner. He's not had much to do all game, so you have to say, to come alive and be aware for these two long shots that he's just faced. It's good goalkeeping of the highest order. Levine looks like he may have taken a knock, and it will be a corner for Southampton in the 84th minute now. Redmond to take. Cuts the ball towards the penalty spot, attacking is Lamina. It comes to the back post, and it's another rash shot by Wesley Hoyt.
Yeah, it fell to the wrong man in the right place, I think, for that. Hoyt just slashing at that one well over the bar. I think even if it had just not gone for the strike, but just gone to put a low, hard ball back into the mix, it could have bounced anywhere. There were several players around the 6-yard box that could have diverted it into the back of their own net. Again, another chance going for Southampton, but I think Mark Hughes will be pleased with the spirit that his side have shown today.
Yeah, I mean, Hoyt could have played the ball across, not in a similar fashion in like the overhead kick of Giroud, but in a similar fashion in that it's drilled across goal as Hazard gets bundled to the ground. He's not happy, he's not being given a free kick. He was clipped by maybe 3 players. Ray Pawson not wanting to give a free kick nor a yellow card to a Southampton player that's already got a yellow card. Kovacic picks the ball up for Chelsea in midfield. Jorginho plays a 1-2 with Kante, then plays it up towards Pedro, plays it to Hazard, who tries to return it to the Spaniard, but it's just too far in front of him. Wasn't able to pick it up, and now Southampton try and break through. Aminu on the right hand side, but it's good defending from Alonso to just clip the ball out of play through a throw-in. 5 minutes plus added time to go in this. Southampton giving it their all, being on show with some great skill, dribbling and finishing. Headed forward by Lamina up towards Shane Long now on the right hand side, plays it back to Højbjerg in support. He's running with 2 men in behind him, and Morata puts a foot across. He might have won the ball at first, but he did also take the man down.
Well, that's what he was signalling to the ref. He's just shaking his head, saying that he won the ball, and probably took a bit of both, which is not something that you can do these days. And a free kick chance from Southampton. Throughout the game, really, they've not been shy of shooting from distance and stinging Kepa's hands, so no doubt they're going to try and do that again. Yeah,
it looks to me as if his this free kick favours a left footer. Maybe Ryan Bertrand will be the one. It's he and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg stood over it. It looks as if Bertrand will be the man to take it. Craig Pawson uses the magic spray to outline where Chelsea's wall should be. Sarri on the edge of the touchline should be pretty happy with how his team have played so far, but Bertrand could get a goal here. He flicks it towards goal, but it's straight into the wall and easy for David Luiz to clear. It really annoys me when players hit the wall from free kicks.
Yeah, it just never had anything behind it, really, unless he was going purposely for a low effort, in which case he's failed, and he just didn't look like curling it over the bar. A poor free kick from Ryan Bertrand. Time's ticking away now for Southampton.
I always feel with free kicks, on the unbelievably rare occasion you might score from a deflection off the wall, but 99% of the time you've got to get it over the wall, so then you have a chance at least of it dipping into the goal. You're never going to score if you hit it into the wall, really.
And it's particularly when it didn't happen on that occasion, but when teams take so long over free kicks, as the ball's played out to the edge of the box. Now Hazard will take it into their box.
Hazard on the left hand side under pressure from Cedric, cuts past him, then cuts past Højbjerg, who holds him off brilliantly, you have to say. Plays the ball forward to Long, whose pass over to Lamina on the right hand side. He's really poor and goes straight out of play. Yeah,
it's ironic really that they kept knocking long balls up to Gabbiadini, and then they tried to play the ball into Long's feet. They need to try and find him as high up the pitch as possible. He's not a link-up player. He's someone that needs to run to the channels and then try and do something himself, as Kovacic will shoot. It deflects behind and out for a goal kick, I think.
Yep, he's running straight directly at the edge of the box and then lent to his left. I'm not sure it's been...
Might have been given as a corner, actually.
Yes, it's been given as a corner. Eventually it's been given as a corner. I wouldn't have thought that he could have scuffed the ball to the position that he did without it hitting a defender on the way. But it will be Hazard to take this corner from the Chelsea left hand side. Kovacic is there for a short one. All the big men from the back are up. Hazard lifts it towards the penalty spot, rising highest is Morata, and then Rudiger just jumps towards the ball. He maybe jumped too high and it's hit his midriff and the keeper's caught it.
Yeah, completely misjudged that, but again, Rudiger left alone in his box. What is Southampton doing, leaving a big centre half like that on his own up there? It went over Morata's head, maybe took him a little bit by surprise. He couldn't apply the third goal for Southampton, for Chelsea, sorry.
I'm sure Southampton would have been happy with almost the third goal, but Rudiger there, maybe should have done better. Ball up Redmond, is it? And he was fouled initially by Cesar Azpilicueta. Will be given as a free kick. Southampton just hanging on to the ball in the middle of the park. It was Bertrand who was fouled incidentally. Ball now with Romeo in midfield, but Kovacic had turned and lost it, but he was judged to have been fouled by Mario Lemina in midfield. He and Højbjerg have been pretty much chasing the game from the first whistle, and maybe that's why Romeo was brought on. We just look back at this free kick, maybe a handball in there, but it's one of those. Luiz has got his arms sort of tucked to his side, and he has jumped for the ball to head it, and it's hit his arm. I'm not sure you can give that as a really late challenge. Comes in from Ings on Kovacic. Yeah,
we'll have to see what happens here. Kovacic rolling round, Ings goes in the book, so that's 6 in there now for Southampton, compared to Chelsea, whose discipline record has been exemplary in this game. A firm challenge from Ings as he went in on the Croatian, a late dive, and yeah, it's a yellow card. It's not a good challenge.
There's a couple of studs at the front of Danny Ings' boot has caught Kovacic. You can see it might be a sore one. Hazard and Luiz were crowding the referee, maybe asking for more, but you can't be given red cards for that one, as we have crossed over the 90-minute mark. We'll wait for the added time as a long ball comes forward from that free kick for Chelsea. Hoyt eventually manages to win the ball and clear it away. It will be 4 minutes of added time. I'm not quite sure where that's come from, but nevertheless, Lemina's breaking on the right hand side. They've got a few men forward here for Southampton. Ings is one, he's got it on the edge of the box and he cuts inside, and great covering midfield play from Jorginho to hook the ball away.
Should have struck it first time. I know he didn't have a great amount of time to react to that as Lemina got to the near side. It was a decent cross into the box and Rudiger completely missed the effort. Ings tried to take it onto his left. He's naturally right-footed, so a little bit surprised that he did that. Maybe the ball just didn't escape from his feet, so he had to take that extra touch. But again, Southampton near misses for them.
Just look back at that foul. It was very nasty on Kovacic's ankle. But yeah, that chance there. It's not as if Southampton have been without chances today. They've had chances to score at least 2 goals today. Yeah. So it could have been a totally different story.
It could have been, but I think quite a few of the chances have been strikes from distance. They've only had a couple in the box that have really fallen for them, and you describe as great opportunities. I think Kepa, with those couple of saves that he made from Redmond and Ings, has kind of kept Chelsea with a comfortable advantage.
Yeah, I mean, this forward line and this midfield have been brilliant today from Chelsea, but the defence has looked a little suspect at times. With the defence, I think Ings has gone past both centre-backs from that deflected Bertrand cross. But Chelsea coming forward now. Jorginho over to the left hand side with Alonso, strikes at goal. Great covering in defence from Lemina to get a block. And with Kovacic into Hazard on the edge of the box, running towards the left hand side, gives it to Alonso. Calms things down and slows things down as well. Pedro playing a 1-2 with Kovacic, so is Hazard. Kovacic more than happy on the ball, plays it back to Luiz. 2-0 up, don't need to go for another goal. Just playing triangles now. Hazard inside to Alonso, back to Hazard. He's running in, he's flicked the ball through for Morata once again. He goes through on goal, chips the goalkeeper over the right arm of Alex McCarthy, and the ball goes into the back of the net. And once again, Morata has got on the goal sheet.
Chelsea have sealed the victory in some style with substitute Alvaro Morata, but once again it all came from the magic of Eden Hazard. Some brilliant 1-2 play on the edge of the box before he fed one through to Morata. He missed an earlier chance, but this time he didn't fluff his lines. A cheeky, clever chip over Alex McCarthy to give Chelsea a 3rd goal.
I have to say, that's 2 chances that Morata has gone through on goal. Great 1-2 between Hazard and Alonso, and then flicked through for Morata. I honestly feel as if the first chance was easier than that one for Morata, but he's done brilliantly to chip the goalkeeper from such a close distance that he was, and Alex McCarthy can't really do anything about it. It was just Chelsea cutting open the Southampton defence. 3-0, no surprise that 3-0 is the scoreline. Chelsea have been absolutely dominant today, and Southampton have wasted the chances when they've come, but another fine goal from Chelsea.
Yeah, brilliant play, and again it's just Hazard at the absolute centre of everything. Just all the dribbles he's made, the shots, the great touches, and it's just his awareness of mind that's really improved, I think, since he first joined Chelsea. He's always had that talent, but sometimes he was a little bit off with his final ball. He didn't score enough goals, but he's doing all of that now, and a great way to end this game because we've only got seconds left.
We have just literally a moment or two left as Rudiger's being picked up by Kepa. He looks as if he may have got a bit of a groin injury running back towards the advertising boards. Gone over the allotted time. As it stands, we'll wait for the referee's whistle, but two outstanding players for me today. Ross Barkley and Hazard both got a goal and an assist. They've just led this Chelsea side so brilliantly, so dangerous in attack.
They have, they've been brilliant today as Louise plays it back to Arrizabalaga, just taken too quickly. And again, after the draw last week against Liverpool where they were conceded, where they were pegged back late on, maybe some would have thought that Chelsea maybe had a few cracks in their armour, but they've shown today why they're title contenders. It's finished at St Mary's. Southampton